Hey, good Friday evening, everyone. Oh, I don't want to forget this. I wish you and yours a very happy new year. This is the final edition of Weather for Weather Geeks in the year 2016. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for watching these videos. These are long videos. They require a little bit of patience and concentration to kind of follow what I'm showing sometimes. But I get some pretty big audiences for this video, especially when the weather is busy. So thank you very much for putting up with my shenanigans and for taking an interest in detailed weather information. I try to present stuff that you can't find on an app or anywhere on TV or any website for Northeast Ohio and Western PA, and hopefully I accomplish that most nights. And I look forward to bringing you more stuff just like that in the year 2017. This video is going to be a little bit different than a typical Weather Geeks video. We're going to focus on kind of reviewing the year and then previewing the month of January. In the short term, the snow is pretty much done for tonight, nothing more than a flurry. There could be a slushy half an inch to an inch of snow tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. I don't think it's a high impact thing for the roads. It'll be around freezing at midnight as we ring in the new year tomorrow night, with perhaps some flurries around. After a nice New Year's Day Sunday, it's going to warm up with a little bit of rain or drizzle early next week, but we'll be in the 50s by Tuesday. But then a big cool down coming at the end of next week, starting Wednesday, and taking us right into next weekend. We'll have probably at least a few days in a row with highs in the 20s. So look for more, detail on next week's weather, of course, as we get past the weekend and into early next week. All right, in this video, let's talk about the year 2016. 2016 is going to be remembered in the Youngstown area as a very, very warm year. We had 2 months, including December, as long as the forecast tomorrow works out all right, 2 months that were cooler than average. The rest of the time, 10 out of the 12 months, it was warmer than average. April and December, the only months that were a little cooler than a typical month. Of course, we had an extremely warm December to close out 2015, the warmest on record. January was kind of a retreat back to somewhat more typical winter weather. Notice we were only a half a degree above average in January, but then February was pretty mild. March, spring got off to a fast start before April we took a few steps back. And then the kind of mid to late spring period was mild but not exceptionally warm. But late summer, early autumn, it was balmy. Very warm autumn season across the region. September, October, and November, all at least a few degrees above the average. When we look back at the last 20 years, here's how 2016 will shape up. Warmer than last year, not quite as warm as 2012. 2012 was the warmest year we've had in a long time here in Youngstown. 1998, 2012, 2016, the very warm years of the last 20. Notice we had some cooler years in the 2000s, including 2003, 2004, and then 2008, 2009. But since 2010, we've had 5 of the last 7 years have been warmer than average. And that's despite, a pretty cool 2014. As you can see, that was one of our cooler years in recent memory. The summer really did it as far as skewing the numbers this year. 2016, the summer, our hottest since 1995. Way above the average. And the first hot summer we've had really since 2012. 2013, 14, and 15 were all at or below average temperature-wise during the summer season. We also had more 90-degree days than recent years, although not to the average. We average 8 or 9. We had 6 this year, a couple more than last year, and of course we had 0 back in that cool year of 2014. In that hot year of 2012, the summer was real hot, and we had 18 90-plus days. It was a summer where energy demand was high. Air conditioners were running at full blast a lot of the time. Here's a look at the heating demand from May 15th to September 15th, kind of the heart of the cooling season. So definitely a big-time demand for energy. And you'll notice, aside from 2014, since 2010, we've had some pretty warm stretches during the day and at night that's led to increased cooling demand. That follows a period where it was a little cooler than that, from roughly 2006 through 2009. Talking about precipitation now, drought was actually a big weather story early in the summer and late in the spring. We had a wet period, of course, really wet in June of 2015, but late spring, early summer this year was much drier. From June 1st to July 15th, that 6 weeks period, we only had 4.7 inches worth of rain. Now, that's not super dry, but it's a lot different than last year and a little below the average. So we were talking about some modest drought conditions across our region early in the summer season. But then things turned around, and not only do we have a pretty warm summer, but it turned out to be fairly wet as well. We had above average precipitation during the June to August period. We averaged 11.5 inches. We had closer to 12 or 13 in most spots. Notice this was our 5th year in a row with wetter than average weather during meteorological summer, June, July, and August. As far as the year as a whole, it was similar to last year as far as the total precipitation. Now, this counts rain and the liquid equivalent of the snow. And so 2 years pretty similar at, above average, and that follows 2 somewhat drier years in 2013, 2014. Notice how wet it was back in 2011. All right, let's start looking forward, but real quick review of December. This was our forecast that we put out a month ago for December, calling for near average temperatures here locally, warmer than average in the southeast, colder than average in the northwestern U.S. That was the forecast. Turned out to be pretty good. Here's what's actually happened. We will end up about a half a degree below average, so pretty close to average here in Youngstown. It was warm in the southeast. It was cold in the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies. So our December forecast worked out pretty well. And again, what a contrast between, whoop, this is the wrong graphic. I meant to show you the the change from last December to this December, but I grabbed the wrong graphic there. Last December, we had less than an inch of snow. Average temperature was about 41 when you count highs and lows. This year, 23 inches of snow and average temperature 29. So it was 14 degrees colder this December, and we had 22 and a half more inches of snow than last December. So big time change. All right, let's talk about January. In the medium range, it's going to be pretty cold late next weekend and next weekend. Again, I talked about that earlier with at least a few days in a row with highs in the 20s. But January as a whole is not being advertised right now by a lot of the modeling as all that cold compared to average. Another cold month likely in the Pacific Northwest, Northern Rockies. But unlike December, the information right now is that the colder than average temperatures may not extend as far east as they did in December. They might get cut off up here. This is the latest run of the climate forecast system model, and then here's the European computer model showing a pretty cold look out west and not all that cold east of, say, Chicago. So now January, climatologically speaking, is our coldest month. The average high is only 32 most of the month. So even if it's milder than average, it's not like we're talking about shorts weather most of the time. But right now what I'm leaning towards for a January forecast is compared to average, warmer than December. And again, December will end up a little below average temperature-wise. I think January has a chance to be at least a little bit above average temperature-wise. If you remember our winter forecast put out in early November, we had this idea. December, cold. January, a retreat of the cold, maybe even a little warmer than average, and then the cold probably comes back compared to the averages in February. So January might be a little bit of like a little bit of a halftime break in winter in terms of intense cold here across the Mahoning and Shenango valleys. All right, so I hope you found this this video interesting. I will be back to regular types of Weather for Weather Geek videos early next week. We'll talk about the warmth and then the cold and the possibility of some snow next weekend in next week's videos. I'll be checking in tomorrow on social media on a couple of occasions as the snow comes in. Hope you have a great New Year's holiday weekend. Happy New Year. Hope it's a prosperous 2017 for you. And if you're up tonight, I hope you'll join me on 21 News at 11 for your 7-day forecast. Have a great night.